How's it going, fellow traders? It's Magic Trader here, and this is the CFTC report for July 17, 2018. So let's take a look here at gold. Okay, ladies and gents, so what do we see with gold? So we know that the institutions are heavily short biased, okay, because we can take a look at the positions here and we can see that they continue to get stronger and stronger and stronger, to the point that look how aggressive this is right here, okay? Very, very red, and that comes as price was dropping right into this weekly area of demand. Now I told you that this area was going to be taken out and that we were going to get a push lower, which is exactly what took place. And now I told you that we were going to get a push to the upside with this demand coming in on the weekly chart. So taking a look at the data, we can see that as price was dropping towards that weekly area of demand, the institutions increased their long exposure, which makes sense because if you're expecting a move upwards from the weekly area of demand, you would want to hedge all those shorts that you've been adding by increasing your longs. And we're going to see the same theme play out on multiple charts, which is building up a very strong case for a very weak US dollar to come into play over the next couple of weeks. Okay, so you can take a look here. The sentiment is still bearish, expecting a move to the upside. How far up is going to be what we have to determine, but I do see a move to the upside on gold, and when we go into the other pairs, you'll see exactly what that will mean for the other ones. So let's go into oil and take a look at oil. We see that more longs are being taken for profits, okay, and that happened as we got this big indecision candle here, up, down, straight to test the weekly ascending trend line, back up, and we can see a big decrease in shorts. So why would they be taking a lot of positions off their portfolio long, okay, for profits, but also be taking them off on shorts? I want to point out something to you that's of importance, okay? Look at the positions here, 113, 694, okay? They increase, it drops to 94, it increases again, 762, increases to 106, decreases to 755, decreases to 100. So profit taking, reducing shorts. Massive profit taking, massive reduction of shorts. I suspect greatly that what's taking place here is that once the institutions close a big chunk of long positions, what will tend to happen is all those long positions being closed off causes supply, okay? Because you have long positions and you close them and price goes down. Just like if you had short positions and you close them, price goes up. So they want to maintain price at the highs. They don't want it to drop like this and then be forced to close them here. So what would you do to artificially maintain price at a high point? Well, you could easily close shorts and longs at the same time. That way you artificially maintain price at the highs and you're able to close off a large portion of those long positions at good numbers at the top. So I suspect that's what's taking place here. Okay, so now we got that weekly ascending trend line holding price up. We got a very strong bullish bias here with 90% of their overall exposure geared to the long side. I think it's going to take some time, but eventually we're going to see more closing of those long positions and eventually opening of the shorts. But they don't want to do those at the same time because it'll just force price like that. Okay, let's get on to the really interesting one, the US dollar. So if you look at the data here, it just looks like they increased some longs and they increased shorts. Nothing to see here, right? But that was as price was starting to move up towards that weekly area of supply. Last week, at the end of the week, we got that test of the weekly supply, and now we're seeing the supply coming into the market. On next week's report, I have a very good feeling what we're going to see is shorts increasing and longs decreasing by taking profits. Okay, those two could happen at the same time, or we could just see longs being closed off. But since it's just fairly recently that they've been starting to get aggressive with their long positions, I'm thinking they maybe not, they might not be getting or taking off longs aggressively. Okay, but the thing that we got to watch out for, at least what I'm going to be watching out for, is how big of a drop are we going to get here? Because if you take a look at the other US dollar pairs, some of the pairs don't have much of a room to drop until they hit weekly areas of demand. So what's going to tell me how far of a drop here is to be expected is how many shorts are they going to add over the next couple of weeks, and what are they going to do with their long positions. So I'll be watching that very closely. But now that the weekly area of supply is in control, I am expecting a move to the downside like that. Okay, so let's take a look at Aussie. What do we see here? So longs are cooled off. They close about 2,000 positions, and they close about 2,000 on shorts too, but overall shorts are aggressive. Okay, and that comes with this indecision candle. I am expecting a move to the upside like that, but overall exposure still geared to the short side. Sentiment is bearish, so we are still waiting for a setup to take a trade to the downside. But again, you look at the room from where price is to that weekly area supply, there's not much room. And you'll see on many of the other pairs, we have a similar situation where there isn't much room until we hit those weekly areas of supply and demand. Okay, so let's take a look at the US CAD. So this is one of those pairs that I was mentioning. We got the test of the week, the monthly area supply, and we see the supply coming into the market. Weekly area demand is just below price, and we can see a big closure of long positions. Makes sense. We hit supply. That's a good area to close long positions that you've been holding from lower. Excuse me. And we can see back in May, you know, look at the positions there, right? And that was here. And they increased longs and then took profits on longs from here to here. And so expecting a move to the downside, not very far until we reach that weekly area of demand. Shorts are cooled off, longs are aggressive, so we are expecting a bigger push to the upside. Take a look. Sentiment is bullish, straight out of neutral, so that supports the move to the upside. So again, I'm going to be watching these charts because I do want to take a long trade here. And so we're going to be waiting for the proper setups in order to do so. Okay, looking at the US Swiss franc, we don't see any signs here of any potential hedging for a move to the downside. Okay, what we do see is we see an increase in longs and we see a small decrease in shorts. All we know is longs are very aggressive, and there was an increase by 2 points in long exposure and an increase in 2,000 net long positions, and that comes as price was rallying up. So it makes sense. We can see that since we got a push to the downside, I think there's going to be some weakness coming in here along with the US dollar weakness. But how far of a move to the downside is going to be what is in question here. So if I take a look at this trend line here like this, what we could see is something of the nature like that. We could see something like that. I would love to see a push down here, because I've been waiting to get in long from here for quite some time. Okay, so let's go on to the next one, which is Euro US dollar. So what do we see? A decrease in long positions and short positions doing nothing. Overall long exposure drops 1 point, continuing to go sideways. But if you look at the lower charts on the daily chart, you can see momentum is slowly starting to shift to the upside. Alright, and if you take a look at the latest report that I just sent out to all the members, you'll see that there's one very specific thing that we're waiting for in order to know when the floodgates are open for the move, and that one thing is just about to take place. So be prepared, guys and gals. Take a look. This is the chart that I like. Look at the pound US dollar, okay? So big increase in longs as price is consolidating here. We've now hit a very important weekly area of demand. And take a look. Big increase in shorts as well. Why are they increasing shorts with a big increase in longs? Well, I think they are starting to hedge a move to the upside, especially with the weekly area of demand in control. That's exactly what I see taking place, okay? So long exposure increases by 3% and net positions drop, which supports the move to the upside. So looking good for some longs here. US dollar Japanese yen. We see a massive increase in longs from 100,000 to 135,000 positions. That comes as price broke up through that descending monthly trend line, coming up here to daily area of supply. As that was happening, big increase in shorts, so that's some hedging here. We know that they've been increasing their long positions. Okay, we've been expecting a move upwards right from here. Target hit on that chart, the setup that I posted for members. That long target's been hit, and now we're getting a push to the downside. So shorts increasing, some hedging going on. Both sides are aggressive, so we see some hedging going on. And right here is that weekly area of demand. And so we got the proper 2-to-1 move away, and we got consolidation away. We could see a long position building from up here. So we'll be waiting for the right signs and for the proper setup to form, and then we will be looking to take advantage of that. Kiwi dollar, we see increase in longs and a slight increase in shorts. Nothing massive, and that comes as price was dropping deeper into the weekly area of demand that's already been tested. Overall, even though there's been a drop of 3 points in short exposure, sentiment is bearish and a slight decline in net positions, but at the end of the day, we're expecting a move downward like this. So how far up are we going to get? Don't know. I'm not trading this pair because there aren't any clear trades to be taken, so I will just leave it alone. Alright, guys and gals, I hope this was informative and helpful for you, and I'll see you in the markets. Take care.